Mr. Gruenberg, I appreciated your leadership during signature. There were 80,000 units of affordable housing that were at risk of losing their affordability, and I felt like you were instrumental in preserving the affordability of those units. But I'm deeply troubled by the findings of sexual harassment, racial discrimination at the FDIC. And so I've been struggling to figure out how I should respond. And I'm curious, imagine for a moment our roles were reversed. Imagine if you were a congressman on the House Financial Services Committee and I was the chair of the FDIC under the cloud of a scandal. Would you call on me to resign?
No, Congressman.
And so imagine if you were a congressman from the Bronx and one of your constituents approached you, and you know the Bronx well, you were an organizer in the Bronx, and one of your Bronx residents approached you and said, Congressman, why are you not calling for the resignation of an FDIC chair whose agency has been found to have a pattern of sexual harassment and racial discrimination? What do I tell that constituent?
I tell him this is a serious problem. The chairman has recognized it, taken responsibility for it, and is working hard and has been working hard since last year to address it. And I think it's important to give him a chance to do that. And interrupting leadership at this point would not advance that objective.
And the problem at issue predates you?
It does, Congressman.
Okay, so it's neither a Democratic nor a Republican issue.
I think that's true.
Right? It's so systemic that it transcends party affiliation.
I think that's true.
Okay. I want to ask about Basel III, Vice Chair Barr. On March 6, 2024, I asked Fed Chair Jerome Powell the following question. How do you reconcile the Fed's repeat reassurances about a well-capitalized banking system with Basel III's assumption of an undercapitalized banking system? And the Fed chair replied with the following answer, quote, I have said for years in this room that I thought the level of capital in the US banking system is about right. And so Vice Chair Barr, do you agree with Chair Powell that the level of capital in the US banking system is about right?
Thank you, Congressman. I very much appreciate the question. As you've heard me say before, and you've heard Chair Powell say before, I'm not in the business of commenting on other public officials' comments. I will say, from my perspective, overall the banking system is sound and resilient. The capital proposal that we put forward is designed to correct particular weaknesses in the approach that we have right now.
I want to interrupt for a moment. Setting aside Chair Powell, do you agree with the assessment that the level of capital in the U.S. banking system is about right? Set aside the source of the quote.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to comment on that. I will say that with respect to capital in the system, I think the system overall is sound. I'm not worried about risks in the banking system beyond those that I've identified, but I do think we can do better. And the Basel III approach is about doing better for that.
So when setting capital requirements, there's a trade-off between safety and soundness on the one hand and capital formation on the other. Right? The best regulatory outcome lies not in maximizing safety and soundness to the exclusion of capital formation, nor does it lie in maximizing capital formation to the exclusion of safety and soundness. The best outcome lies in striking an optimal balance between the two. And if you as a banking regulator get the balancing act wrong, as you may well be doing with Basel III, it could mean less credit for households and businesses, it could mean less financing for clean energy in an age of catastrophic climate change, it could mean less equity and debt financing for affordable housing at a time when housing costs are a disproportionate driver of inflation. Simply put, the loss of credit is no abstraction. And so can you state with certainty to the public that your Basel III proposal has objectively identified the optimal level of capital in the banking system?
Congressman, I don't think anyone can say that on either side of it. The risk of doing too little in this space is that we have another devastating financial crisis that shutters American businesses and harms American households. What we're trying to do is get that balance right.
No one disputes the need for safety and soundness, but you can make that, you could increase capital requirements by 50% on the basis of safety and soundness and in the service of preventing a financial crisis, right? The question is, how do we know with certainty whether we're optimizing the level of safety and soundness and capital formation?
I don't think either of us are in the business of certainty, sir.
Okay. Well, I see my time's about to expire, so.